Tulsi Gabbard is the real deal. She's an independent thinker who speaks truth to power. She's against interventionist wars, which is why the mainstream media, the military-industrial complex, and corporate establishment Democrats are so against her. They're afraid she'll stop their gravy train. Tulsi also has a truly progressive domestic platform. She's the Democrats' best option to beat Trump because she appeals to voters all across the political spectrum. My belief is that once she gets on the debate stage, America will actually listen to her. If they listen to Tulsi, they will love and support her. Tulsi for 2020. That's from Sharon M. Mercer underneath one of my BitChute videos. Excellent commentary. Judging by the flood of comments I'm getting underneath my Tulsi videos, I'm noticing a lot of Trump supporters defecting to Tulsi Gabbard. But they say, like me, she's the only Democrat they'd vote for, and if she doesn't get the Dem nomination, they'll vote for Trump. Democrats, take note. I just recently changed my party affiliation to Democrat just to vote for Tulsi in the Dem primaries because I know she's up against a lot, and I want to support her even though I voted Republican most of my life. I'm actually mostly libertarian in my views. In some areas I lean left, and in some I lean right. You might say, how can I know which candidate serves the deep state over the true public interest? Just do an internet search regarding their stand on Russia, because a lot of these politicians sound so convincing. The deep state's greatest threat is Russia, because Putin's on my marriage list. If they have Russophobia or don't have the courage to denounce it, mark it down. They are a deep state Laurie McBride cuck, narcissist, or sociopath, and will betray you when in office, breaking campaign promises to serve big money interests over you. Also keep in mind, you must judge them by their actions over their words. Are they consistent, or do they change their stance depending on how the wind blows? But I plan to vote for Tulsi regardless of whether she gets the Dem nomination. I'm voting totally my conscience in this election without regard to who I think is most electable. The only exception would be if the Dem candidate has the morals of Hillary Clinton, then I'd vote for Trump just to ensure we don't get a sociopath in the White House. I'm not too crazy about Trump's narcissism, though. Like if Kamala Harris, a sociopath, wins the Dem nomination, I might vote for Trump just to keep Kamala out. You got to understand something about narcissists like Trump, folks. They tell you what you want to hear, but do the opposite. Like they'll take on issues that will get them votes while secretly and actually carrying out policies that serve their true constituents, the big money corporations who support them. Like Trump says he's against abortion because he has to get the evangelical vote. But have you noticed he hasn't really done anything about abortion? Same with immigration. His true positions on both of these are to say what you want to hear, but he maintains the status quo because his big financial supporters don't want things to change. The Dems love Trump's Supreme Court pick in Kavanaugh. Trump's just maintaining the status quo, folks, and I've got a... So how do I feel about Kavanaugh? He's okay. My views are more libertarian. He seems like a nice guy. But I laugh when I read the tweet about how Dems feel about Kavanaugh. This shows you what a genius narcissist Trump is. He says he'll confirm conservative justices while he campaigns and does the opposite. I'm not totally conservative, so Kavanaugh is okay with me. I just think it's hilarious how Trump trolls the conservatives and fools them into thinking he represents their interests. No, conservatives. Trump serves the filthy rich money people who finance his campaigns over you. But you might say, then why were people like Kamala Harris so mean to Kavanaugh during the confirmation hearings? The Dem leadership is out of touch with their constituents, folks. Kamala and Booker revealed themselves to be sociopaths in the way they handled Kavanaugh. Both of them lost me for good after I observed them in the Kavanaugh hearings. The Dems are just pissed that Trump won. They got Trump derangement syndrome and being totally ridiculous about it and have all become one-issue candidates who only seem to care about getting rid of Trump. Tulsi refuses to get sidetracked and I think will really get things done when she gets in. I don't think she's going to get sidetracked into worthless debates that don't deal with the key issues that should concern us as voters. She seems like the real deal. You might say, but Tulsi supports Planned Parenthood and they kill babies. Well, I figure if she gets in, things will just stay the way they are regarding abortion, which is what would happen under Trump anyways. But her stands in other areas are superior to Trump's, so in other areas, she'll do better than Trump. As far as the economy that Trump boasts so much about, if he would cut military spending, that would enable him to spend the money on some much-needed social programs that we need, like universal health care, which I believe in. I just don't like the way Obama does it. Tulsi's ideas seem more workable. Though Trump's caving into his big money supporters in foreign policy, putting us in danger of nuclear war makes me furious. So he's not getting my vote, unless a sociopath gets the Dem nomination. I see Biden as a cuck, not a sociopath. Same with Bernie Sanders, though I like Bernie better than Biden. So if either of them gets the Dem nomination, I'll be voting for Tulsi. The only thing that will stop me from voting for Tulsi would be if there's a serious danger of getting a sociopath if I don't vote for Trump. Better a narcissist Trump than a sociopath like Cory Booker or Kamala Harris. Though I'm not sure Tulsi's economic policies are workable, cutting military spending makes sense, and this is where we can save lots of money. Trump spends money on the military-industrial complex to honor those who finance his campaigns over the welfare of his constituents. Tulsi's idea to cut military spending is a workable plan for economic policies and will help to cut our deficit. We don't need to spend money babysitting other countries when we have such a large deficit. Also, her health plan will save money because she wants to bring down the price of some very important prescription drugs. The prices people pay on prescription drugs is ridiculous. Now, the following points I'm going to bring up now are taken from a well-written article by Libertarian Jeffrey Pike, and I agree with him about 90%. I'll mention what I agree with. The main reason Tulsi stands out is because she's anti-establishment, particularly when it comes to the issue of war and foreign intervention. On cultural and economic issues, Gabbard is certainly mostly on the political left. On the issue of foreign policy, she and Ron Paul are basically in the same camp. The establishment has already taken their digs at Gabbard. I suspect that the establishment media will try to ignore her as much as possible. They'll give her the Ron Paul treatment to a certain extent. If she starts to gain significant support, she's going to start to experience the Donald Trump treatment by the media. On economic issues, she's really terrible from a libertarian point of view. I'm actually kind of libertarian in the way I approach politics. She favors a $15 minimum wage. She's also a believer in the climate change agenda, using government to solve an unproven problem. There are also issues aside from foreign policy where libertarians, though, could support her. She's advocated for decriminalizing marijuana and criminal justice reforms, and while her economics are not good, she has opposed the Trans-Pacific Partnership and other managed trade deals. Libertarians should pay attention to the candidacy of Tulsi Gabbard. She could be a game changer or at least make things interesting. She'll have to find ways to avoid a media shutout and to strike down false and misleading stories about her. While I believe good economics is crucial in achieving a free society, I think foreign policy is the most important issue. It's an issue of life and death. And even from an economic standpoint, the U.S. empire would have to be significantly scaled back in order to achieve any semblance of fiscal conservatism. Gabbard was one of the few Democrats who actually met with Donald Trump after he was elected president. She does not have Trump derangement syndrome as much of the left does. She was positive about meeting him. Interestingly, Steve Bannon was actually very complimentary of Gabbard. Gabbard's been critical of Trump where it actually matters, such as striking Syria with missiles. In other words, she's actually shown consistency. She's been incredible in her opposition to the war in Syria. She met with Bashar al-Assad in 2017 and opposes trying to overthrow him. She has not accepted the word of the establishment that Assad has been using chemical weapons against his own people. She seems to understand that a lot of lies and propaganda are fed to the population in order to support war. She's been great from a libertarian viewpoint on most everything dealing with foreign policy. She opposed the wars in Iraq and Libya. She opposes funding the Saudis. She supported removing sanctions against Iran. This is really where the presidency matters. It's where the president should have the most control. We've seen how hard it's been for Trump to follow through with some of his campaign promises. The deep state opposes him at every turn whenever he takes an anti-establishment position. It's too bad that Trump did not get Gabbard into his cabinet. She would have been great as Secretary of State or Secretary of Defense. Instead, he puts people like Nikki Haley, John Bolton, and Mike Pompeo in there. If Gabbard were in Trump's cabinet, at least he would have an ally in trying to pull troops out of Syria. If Gabbard did become president, I wouldn't worry too much about her bad economics. The best case scenario from a libertarian standpoint would be to have a Republican majority in Congress. They could oppose the more radically bad elements of her domestic agenda. Meanwhile, if Gabbard's sincere and could resist the deep state, she could order all the troops home and put an end to the wars. I see only positive things coming from her candidacy, assuming she mostly sticks to her anti-war message. She has the potential to be a good president where it matters most. Most of all, she can help move public opinion into a more libertarian direction when it comes to foreign policy. So this is how I really feel about Gabbard. She has my vote for 2020, and Ron Paul has endorsed her. So that should tell you something, folks. And Joe, I think his name is Joe Rogan, he's also endorsed her. I'd like to see her get more endorsements from some big name people like Ron Paul and Joe Rogan. So she does need donations so she can get on the debate stage. I'd like to see her on the debate stage. We need to hear this woman's voice. She could be a real game changer in the campaign. I know it's a long shot for her to get the Dem nomination. She's up against the establishment, but for Christians out there, you pray that God's will be done in this election. And like I said, Gabbard has my support for 2020. I'm going to have a link underneath this video to a page that I made about her, and you can read it to basically get a recouping of everything I said here, plus some other videos that I have in there. Noam Chomsky had a brilliant analysis of about Trump and this election, which I think everyone should listen to, and it's in the link underneath this video. And let's support Tulsi Gabbard. In my opinion, she is the best candidate for 2020.